Well, hello knife lovers out there. Today we're going to have a look at some rake knives. I got this one, the Fang P841-L first, and it impressed me so much. And honestly, I've seen a lot of reviews on, not a lot, but some reviews on YouTube, and they are equally impressed. All rake knives come in 14C28N steel, and as I said, this one was the first I got, and it impressed me so much. It's such a nice knife. Everything from action to fit and finish and blade shape. Yeah, it's just a nice knife. Strangely, it's only the Fang and the Hussar that actually got names. The rest of them only have numbers. At the end here we start with P841SF and the P128SF, and then we have the P105Q, which is also called the Fang, and the Ruike Hussar P121-B, also a very nice knife indeed. This was the second one I got. Equally great action and lovely smoothness and so on. And then this one is a new one in my collection. You've seen it in my unboxing video. I'll save this for another day, another review. But this is the P138-B. And then we go to the topic at hand today. The P841-L impressed me just as much as the Fang, but then again I got a bit more used to the kind of quality I could expect from the rake knives, so not as big a surprise as the first one I got. I usually start at the blade and work my way through the knife, and if we look at the blade, we have sort of a drop point with some belly, satin finish, very sharp, a swedge on top of the blade, and they just made sure that you don't actually cut yourself, but it's still 90 degrees here, so for you, those of you that might want to use a fire steel, this is absolutely doable with this backside of this blade. Then there's the thumb studs, nicely, I don't think they're anodized, but they are colored anyway. And looking at the top of the blade, we see that there's no jimping here. Actually, a lot of the rake knives come without jimping on top of the blade, but well, I mention it, it's not an issue for me, but it might be for you. Looking at the handle, we have a nicely contoured handle, a bit of swedges, a bit of milling work, very nice round shapes, and the pivot, backside of the pivot, everything is nicely rounded off, centering nearly perfect, maybe it favors the presentation side that's just a little bit, but really not an issue anyway, to me anyway. It is very close to perfect. If we look at the top here, we have a little bit of jimping here, but that's actually not jimping. I'll just see if I can make it focus. This is actually a lock I don't know how you feel about locks on these knives. I honestly don't care much, but this one is unobtrusive and very hit lock up at around 60%. And since I just activated the lock, we'll just take that lock off, and there it is. Now, the action, which is what I love so much about these Ruike knives. Right out of the box, super smooth, and by now I've been playing a bit with it. It is just dropping shot. It's not like it's falling, but it has that sort of hydraulic feeling, very nice. I have to tell you that out of the box it had a little bit of a squeaky sound from the lock bar here, easily mended with a drop of oil, but I take all my knives apart and clean them up inside. That's just the way I am. So absolutely no issues when I lubricated it a bit inside. And under normal circumstances you would be able to stop the little squeaking with a drop of oil. Detent in this one is very, very good. Going back to the fang, the only issue I have with this one is maybe a little bit of a loose detent, but really not that big an issue, but even then they did this a little bit better, and it is amazing. Detent is just right. This knife is a rather beefy handle, you have to be aware of that. No problem to me, I just mention it because for some of you slim knives is what you prefer. To me it is a beefy and a sturdy feeling in my hand. And to mention the hand and in-hand ergonomics, it just sits there so well. And that's a reverse grip and normal. And even I'll just have to try push cut. As I always say in my videos, I don't recommend cutting against yourself, but if you have to, then this sits very nice in hand. And last but not least, we have the action. This is an amazing action. I'm close to saying that it's better than the Fang, which in itself was quite amazing. So I just have to tell you, if it's thumb studs or flipper, it just flips so nicely. Smooth and no grittiness, no feeling of ball bearings. And of course it's ball bearings. You can't feel them grinding anywhere. It's just buttery smooth. Weight wise, I'll put the data in the end of this video, but I have to tell you it's sturdy and not heavy, but yeah, a beefy knife. You can feel it in hand. It has some milling work inside, but it's it just gives that, to me, it just gives that sturdy feeling, and really no problem with the weight. Well, I definitely recommend this one. Well, being a knife geek, I just have to mention one little detail about this knife, and this is that behind the pivot screw, as you know, I said I took it apart, behind the pivot screw against the handle is a little plastic or silicone washer. Now, I respect another reviewer, Nick Chapas, very much, but in this case I think he's wrong, because he actually said that this washer was supposed to make up for some bad tolerances in the knife. I don't think that's the issue. I actually think that this washer, which is a bit slippery, has the idea behind it is to avoid thread locker, you know, like Loctite inside, because what it does is that it keeps the screw in the same position. Many knives, if you flip them a lot, the screw tends to loosen unless you give it a bit of Loctite. But in many of the Ruike knives I've seen this little silicone washer inside with the pivot screw, and I actually think this is to prevent the screw from moving without using a thread locker. This video turned out to be a bit longer than I thought, but here, before I finish, I'll just tell you that my next review will be of this little guy, the Ruike 138B. And with this, I hope you have a nice day, evening, whatever it is in your country. Bye bye.